Hey there, slot car adventurers, back again. This week I'm going to rejuvenate the pit lane garages. Got a few things to do, starting with the big cut down of a couple of spinny billboards. Yes, well, let's just dive straight into it and see how it all turns out, hey? This is going to be fun. All right, let's chop this down to size. Whoops. Right, this is one of the very first magnetic racing kits I ever purchased. Now this is not the spinning three-sided billboard variety, this is a fixed one, and as you can see I didn't even bother painting it. I was very eager, gotta put this thing together, and yeah, you live and learn as you work with these things. Eventually I'll paint this one, put something, I don't know, I might put something on the base, we'll see, depends on where it ends up. It doesn't need to be a rotating one, or I might even put it up as a giveaway, who knows. But here's these two, I've chopped them down to size, I've taken them outside, and I've just given them a fresh respray, but not before finding these small footprint bases, as you can see here. Now I had to rummage through the leftovers, the kits, and folks, never throw out your leftovers, always put them aside, file them away, because you never know when you're going to need any little bits and pieces that are left in there, or even the remaining materials come in handy to create any little weird little components you might need to fabricate. But anyway, these have been cut down to size, as you can see. Normally they're up to here. So yep, we're in low rider mode. Quick respray, quick little bit of weathering here and there. Now I'm going to reinstall the little motors. Pretty easy to do, except I've got to feed the cable through now. Yeah, it'll be easy enough. So I'll get that installed, and then it's just a matter of peeling off the old stickers and then gluing on all the new artwork. So here's what that looks like. And just like that, we have ourselves two lowrider spinny billboards, complete with Mobil 1 Racing logos, liveries, branding, whatever you want to call it. So the next thing to do is nip inside and just prepare the rooftops. We've got to paint the top of those garages. We've got some more artwork to print out. We've got these strips, plastic strips that are attached to the top front of those Carrera garages. We're going to replace the stickers that are on them with more, maybe some more Mobil 1, but I am thinking of putting some Marlboro branding on there, because you usually see Marlboro and Mobil 1 together. I think it would look pretty good. It's classic here in Australia. Definitely with the Bathurst 1000 out there at Mount Panorama. Mobil and Marlboro go together hand in hand, like butter and Vegemite. Yeah. Well, what do they have over in America that goes together? Is it? We're told you have peanut butter and jelly. What on earth is jelly? Jelly and peanut butter. You know, I don't know what that means, but we hear that a lot. Yeah. Alrighty then, let's get into this thing. So first of all, I would like to paint the top of these roofs. Now we're going to remove these things, they just pull off, and we're going to redo the graphics. I don't know whether to go front and back. Like there's two lots, you can have two rows of these, but I found the back row was sort of visually biting into the scene and just making things too busy. So let's pull these off. That one seems to be glued in place. Okay, we're gonna just have to force it. This is an unforced error. No, it's a forced error. Oh, it's really this drives me insane. When you want this glue to stick, it won't. When you don't want it, or it just clamps down. All right, we'll have to use a little bit of creative leverage with that one. I'll sort it out. Oh, it's really on there. My gosh. Let's remove this. Now, I've already given them a bit of a once over with the silver paint pen. Looking better already. Needs a little bit more work though, but a good start. So there we go. We need to take those and detail those next door. Let's just plonk them down here for the time being. I want to paint the floor in there. So get these out of the way. I've got some paint ready to go. Yes, we're getting dangerous here, folks, although it's not looking very good. It's been sitting there. Oh, there's not much at all. Well, probably enough to get started. Let's have a look. You ready? Watch this. Yeah, look, it's not even mixed properly and there's hairs in it. Perfect. Exactly what we want. Because what roof is perfectly nice and clean, right? There's dust and crap and bird shit and people shit if there's people nearby or a bit like that. Yeah, up on the roof, it's a dangerous place. Don't look up if you're passing by underneath. You never know what's coming your way. Just saying, a public announcement there. So I'm staying away from the edge because I'm gonna be very pedantic and careful about it. I've already used up all the bloody paint. How crapified is that? Well, at least we're getting a start. I think it's a bit too light anyway. This is just a mixture I did for some other project. I can't even remember what it was. What did I use grey on? Don't know. I used it on something, but anyway, I'm going to go over that. But this will give us an idea. Just for starters, that well, it shows my conviction to getting this done, right? Some of you are like, oh, he's not going to paint those plastic toyish garages. Who would do that? Some people are like that, you know. Don't paint the toyish plastic garage. That's looking better already. See what's going on? That's where I used the grey paint. I did the concrete look back there. Where did I use that? I can't. It's right bloody there, you nom. Good grief. The coffee hasn't quite kicked in yet this morning. That's my excuse. Being up late watching Home Racing World, catching up on the ones I missed. Did everybody tune into Home Racing World this last weekend and check out all the cool goings on there? That was great. Some great builds. Their jalopy summer challenge, but look, there were more than jalopies on show there. There was all sorts. Fantastic stuff. We're spoilt rotten by that channel and the guys involved, so a huge thank you from me. Great evening, great weekend's worth of entertainment, and occasionally I got to see one live. I was too busy sleeping otherwise, because we're on the other side of the planet here. We're all out of sync, but I managed to tune in live on a couple of them. Mostly I'm watching them back. What's that? All right. And no, I'm not breathing heavily because I'm out of breath. I'm talking too much instead of concentrating on what I'm doing. All right, look at that. And no, I'm not flicking it everywhere because it's kind of drying. It's drying up. It's not really flicky in its current state. But here's what I do. Just instead of taping up, you just sort of flick it, right? Flick it across the edge. Look at that. Don't get any on those slot cars. Don't get any on Wildman's Pioneers there. We better move those. Or don't get any on the builds, the HQ builds. We better move those. We can do it here. Look at that. So just sort of a flicking motion. And look at that. Nice clean line on the edge there. How cool is that? See, no tape required, no masking. if it's sloppy paint that flicks everywhere, yeah, you would not want to try that. But as you can see, there's no flicky bits. All good. I will move those cars though, but there you go. It's looking better already. I'm going to consider this a primer. I believe this is a primer paint actually, that I've added pigment to change it. It's an indoor house paint though, but hey, it's just arts and craft, isn't it? It's looking good, way better. I think I want it darker though. I want it to look pretty much like this section. So we're gonna have to do something else there. I might have to go and see what they've got at the hardware store. Once again, off to the hardware store. So I'm gonna continue on with this, get all the edges, get that thing removed somehow, and yeah, I'll show you the final result. All right, all done. Now I've done a sort of a crisscross finish with the brush just to give it some texture. I don't want it to be like flat and smooth. I wanted some sort of, you know, texture going on up there. That's a little bit ick. Just sort of crisscross it. Yep, that's looking better. Nice. Oh, missed a bit in the corner there. Oh damn, well beauty is, it'll scrape off any of it. So I've gone around a bit there. I've got to remove that stair. Oh, those stairs can stay. What are we doing here? Definitely the slaughterhouse chic comes to mind, but then again, we've got Mobile 1 everywhere. Well, we will have Mobile 1 everywhere, so maybe, yeah, it comes back to red again. Red, yes. Yes, well, I'm thinking about it. But anyway, there's a preliminary coat, I guess you could call it, of crappy, clapped out paint that was on its way to drying up, and it's been sitting in there for months. But that's come in handy. That's got that done. It's looking 1,000,000% better already, I think. Just absolutely fantastic. So, still, it's, yeah, needs to be dry, not dry, it needs to, well, it needs to be dry of course, but it needs to be darker. It needs to be darker, I'm thinking. Definitely darker. So I'll let that coat dry and I'll put my thinking cap on. I'll get out my pens and crayons and butcher paper and I'll, yeah, I don't really use crayons. It's just trying to be silly, that's all. Or maybe I do have some. I have crayons, but I don't use. They're art crayons. They're those tiny little ones for artists. You know, they come in a pack. There's 1,000,000 of them. They're every colour under the rainbow. They've been sitting in my art box with all my old oil paints and turpentine and canvases unfinished, and yeah, and there's the art crayons are in there. So they're not kiddie crayons, if that's what you've been thinking all along. They're proper professional artist crayons. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to get on with this instead of twaddling on. Very happy with the way it's coming along. Let's keep going. Couple of little consoles ready to go in the control tower, the Mobile 1 control tower. Turned out pretty good, although you'll mainly see them from this side. So anyway, we'll go and glue them in. Pretty cool. Alrighty, there it is, the finished texture on top of the garages. There's the finished interior, the floor. Black carpet with a great big Mobile 1 insignia across the carpet. Little control consoles have had a paint drink therein, so that's looking good. And here's the other side of the garages. Nice bit of texture. It's still drying, but you can see I just did a consistent brush on to give this sort of kind of like a roof tar kind of vibe, and it's fairly much in line with the roof of the middle section. If we just take that and just tentatively sit it on there, all begins to make sense. How's that? I think that's pretty good myself. I'm happy with that. Now I have taken off the little signage plastic thingamajiggies, and I have taken all the Carrera supplied stickers off them. I just had to use a hairdryer to soften them up, soften up the adhesive, get them all off, clean them up. I'm going to spray paint them as well, probably black, and then I'm going to print out some new Mobile One, or I'm still thinking about that. I'm considering making it all Marlboro, because you always see Marlboro with Mobile One, particularly in racing here in Australia. I'm still thinking, haven't fully decided, but I am thinking it needs something different other than the Mobile One, because it's everywhere otherwise in this area. So far so good. Very, very happy with the way it's looking, and once all that paint does dry, I will then be installing the lowrider twirly billboards, or spinny billboards, or rotating billboards, or them things there, whatever you want to call them. And to finish off, we'll add all the signage on the front, new signage. And I think this area will be looking pretty darn swish by then, but already I'm liking the look of this. It's looking a lot more, dare I use the word authentic, just a lot more suitable to the way the layout is taking shape. Yeah, not bad at all. Now I've painted all these Carrera white plastic sticker billboard thingies. Quick spray of silver, didn't go too crazy with it, it's just quickly sprayed on there. It's not a perfect coating, depending on what angle you look at it from, it's okay, but the idea is it's been up on the roof for a while, it's a little bit naturally weathered. I've been cutting out some more artwork, that's just going to glue into there like that. I'm going to leave the back untouched, and you'll see in a moment, well actually I'll tell you all about it. And I've already got one missing, here they are. So I've got all these little sticks. Care of Magnetic Racing, they threw this in as some extra building bits and pieces, very handy. So on the back I'm going to cut a bunch of these into short lengths with 45-degree angle cuts. I'm going to paint them all gunmetal grey, and they'll be glued behind there as little struts, you know, support struts. Yeah, it'll look pretty cool, and I'll just have the branding on the front there. So I've got one more to trim to size. In fact, this is where this is where Photoshop skills will serve you well. Just basic Photoshop skills, folks. You don't need to be an expert, but learn about file formats and also sizing. Sizing is very important. Get your head around the sizing and then how to print that. Selecting your printer settings so that it's not scaling when it prints out, rather it's keeping it at 100% scale. That way, whatever size you measure and set on your screen, that's exactly what it will print out. I usually create a A4 page template perfectly down to the millimeter, and then just throw all these things on that, save it as a TIFF file. TIFF does not compress. And then I take that to my printing station, my old computer with the printer connected to it. And yeah, it's an Epson printer, fairly old now, but still works a treat. This is photo quality, or photo paper, glossy photo paper. You can buy it in bulk quantities. It's thicker, it's like a thin cardboard, and it prints out. Trim it to size, and look at that, perfect fit. So I measured that first. I think it was 26 millimeters that way and 201 millimeters this way. I set my background on my A4 page template to slightly off-white, so that when I printed this, it doesn't print white, it just doesn't print anything. You want to be able to see where you've got to cut, right? So there it is, and there it is there, perfect fit. An important skill I would highly recommend the average slot car scenery hobbyist: learn how to properly... What is that cat doing? You're naughty, you're getting into the peanuts. They're not real peanuts, they're foam, don't you get that? Yeah, you're not going to find a real peanut in there. No, there's no peanuts in there, you little nut. And there we go. I've just quickly done a few little dollops of super glue in there. I've mounted all these. Yes, as you can see, I went with Mobile One, but it's the classic Mobile One logo on a white background. I thought this will offset against these guys nicely. See what I'm getting at? Yeah. Yeah, so they're all set, ready to go. They're just raw on the back. I'm now going to cut these guys out, figure out the sizing and get painting with those. And just like that, I've cut out 6 sets of support struts. So each one, they're cut at 45-degree angles each. Let's try and do this one-handed. So if that's like that, that's going to be sort of glued on like so at the back. And there's 1, 2, 3. So I'll just get these painted with some gun metal, and that should be that. Matter of just gluing these all back on the garage tops, at which point we're going to figure out where to position these guys and figure out how we're going to conceal the wires. While I'm at it, I might add some more LEDs too. Well, I'll think about that. I've got some blue flashing ones, and blue is Mobile One's colour, or one of their colours, so blue flashing LEDs might be the go, or will that drive me absolutely insane sitting in front of the layout with blue flashing lights in my eyes? I don't know. I'll think about it. Anyway, let's get these painted. So now it's time to just put these back on. One of them, this one I believe, I'm going to have to glue in place because they just snapped off. They were glued in for some reason. Don't know why I did that, but there it is. So my paint texture on the roof is dried and it's retained that sort of pattern. I'm very happy with that. It's like brushed on, you know, that black's waterproofing they apply to flat roofs. That stuff, I forget what they call it. But that's kind of the vibe I was going for. It's a dark roof to match with the dark roof of the middle bit, and it's starting to look like a proper pit lane. Starting to. So let's get these on. Well, I can take one right now and prop it in there, but I think, oh no, it clicks in and it's staying right now. I've got to put these little struts in back, and they're going to be glued in place. A couple of little dobs of super glue. So I don't think these need to be super glued in place, but we'll see how we go. It's not too bad. And this one. So now the paint I used on these Carrera plastic pieces has a built-in primer. I did thoroughly clean them down with some isopropanol once I had removed. That is looking terrific. That is looking so much better, and with our Mobile here, I've carried on and used the Mobile on white here, and as we know, the rotating lowrider billboards have this kind of printing on black, but it's also got the Mobile racing insignia. So I've got to tell you folks, after staring at those Carrera stickers ever since I started this, I got a bit of a touch of euphoria here. There's a bit of a euphoric moment, believe it or not. I know it's just a little thing, but That is looking so much better. And then this, yeah, look at that. And this final one I've got to glue on. Tabs broke off and I couldn't get them out, but that's okay. It'll go on like so. Yeah, I'll sort that out. And then the next thing, I need to go and retrieve those little mounting struts, support struts, and glue them in place. Very good. And there we have it, folks. I've been given the old super glue gel a workout. I've put on my little struts and over this side too. Had some paint on my finger. I've got a little something to touch up there. Great fun, but there they are. Spin the camera around. See if I can get down in there. So there's your little faux metal struts holding up the signage. Very pleased with how that turned out. Adds a touch of realism to the thing. It's not so toyish. And yeah, I guess it's time to now focus on the lowrider spinny billboards. Now it's time to install these rotating billboards, or the lowrider spinny billboards. So that gives you a sort of an idea of the look, and yes, it's gonna look great. It's certainly gonna work well with our gantry. I'm just trying to figure out how to get the wires, obviously with the unit standing in the middle of this one, and I think that is the position for it right there. I think that's going to look great. Either side of that, it'll balance it all out. So I've got space, unit, space, unit, space. Yeah, visually nice and evenly spread out. It's not all crammed up in the middle or stretched out to the extremes. So I need to drill a hole for the wire to go, and that puts it in the middle of the garage, and then another hole needs to be there to go down. Now, another idea is to somehow conceal it. Yes, this is going to be much trickier than I thought. I'm not going to mind seeing a wire dangling down in the middle there. I'll paint it black, and I tell you now, you will never notice it unless you really take a close look. But it's going to be a bit difficult to get, yeah, they're really fixed in there now. It's going to be quite a major operation to remove this. So I need to be, wow, I need a drill bit that's long enough to go through there and all the way through there and down through the table. So there's about an inch and a third right there. There is no cross beam in the way. What about over here? Do we have a cross beam? No. We just miss it. So we've got no obstacles under the table. And I haven't got that end of the layout switched on at the moment, hence why all the lights are not on, so they do work. Yes, I'm thinking, I suppose I could be real tricky and just sort of measure from here. There's our line of sight. I can measure from this point to just behind this post and drill up from underneath. That might do the trick. Yeah. Huh. Decisions. Anyway, folks, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to get it done, and then we'll marvel at the finished result. Hey, we're pretty close. We're pretty close. And there we have it, slot car adventurers. All in, all sorted, looking good. And I'm very pleased with the result. We've got our lowrider spinny billboards. Look at that. And as you can see, the top is just below the level of the flags. Very nice. And yes, I'll be doing something with those flags. I'll paint them and Probably put the original mobile emblem. I think it was a prancing pony type thing. I can't remember, but it's something like that. That'll probably look good on the flags. But there it is. How good is that? And then if we just pull back and have a look at the full picture here, there you go. We've got this thing in the foreground, rotating billboards in the background. I might put a mobile logo in the front there, although it might be going too far. I'll think about that. I think there's plenty on there. Looks terrific. Got the roof painted. It's a massive improvement. I'm very happy with how it's turned out. Quite frankly, my favourite feature are these little supports. It's the little details sometimes that really make the thing, and these things you don't even see unless you're behind there, but that's pretty darn cool, isn't it? How good is that? Love the way the paint turned out on the roof with all those brush marks going the same consistent way. Looks like that roof tar stuff. Again, I can't remember what they call it. Probably a brand name I'm thinking of, but there it is. There it is, folks. The lowrider spinny billboards installed, all done, all sorted, and that is another job well done, I think. Yeah. And there we have it, Slot Car Adventurers. Another little step forward on the layout there, scenery-wise. Pit lane, garages looking better than ever. Not finished yet. There's still more things to add, more figures, more pit lane-ish stuff. But it's definitely a huge improvement. That toyish look is definitely gone, and it's really starting to look pretty magical. Very, very happy with how that's turned out. Well, that's about all I've got for you this week. Hope you enjoyed the Aussie Slot Car Show live on Thursday night. We had a lot of fun, and Katie really liked that car, didn't she? And a huge shout out to Dave Folk for creating that work of art for Katie there. Just amazing stuff. And folks, If you haven't already, hop on over to Dave Volk's channel, Dave's Slot Car Asylum. Hit the subscribe button, check out his videos. His videos have got a slightly different tone to what's already out there, so he's bringing something quite interesting to the hobby table. Very 3D print related, very close-up, in-depth look at what he's doing, and he gets great results. It's very inspiring. Definitely go check that one out. And until next time, it's farewell for now, and catch you next time on Hughes Garage Slot Car Adventures.